Okay, so now that everybody has moved and settled down, I invite you to watch this next video presentation. Enjoy!
Would you like to earn money while playing games on your PC or mobile device? Introducing Komoverse, the first play-to-earn strategical player versus player auto battler chess game on the Solana blockchain. Komoverse is a turn-based strategy game where players compete against each other with random attributes and heroes in the Komodo chessboard. The goal is to upgrade and strategize your heroes to make stronger synergies between fire, water, earth, wind, dark, and light. After battling, you receive experience points and daily crypto rewards contributed to you as you earn rights for the time you play. Komoverse presents a premier opportunity for you to adopt rare collectibles and be rewarded for your skill and playtime while also utilizing the power of decentralization ownership that blockchain technology delivers. Once you acquire one of the 10,000 unique Komoverse NFTs, it is owned uniquely and proprietarily by you. There are 4 basic types of characters: Lizard, Chameleon, Komodo, and Dragon, which you can collect and breed. It's easy to make money from Komoverse. Simply become a daily top player, breed your characters, or sell your NFTs as their value goes up. In-game transactions, including purchasing skins, heroes, virtual land metaverse, and more, are all accomplished using the Komo token, which is our exclusive currency. Not able to afford an NFT? No problem! You can loan NFTs from the staking pool to access gameplay. Your loan interest will be deducted from your account's play-to-earn balance and paid to your investors. A win-win situation. And don't forget, you have exclusive rights to play the game as an NFT holder. Join our Discord group for NFT giveaways, airdrop, and presale whitelisting, and visit Komoverse.io and get your NFTs today.
Okay, that looks like the end of the video. Some of us have gone for a coffee break. Just give us 1 minute while we rally the troops to come back in for a second round. Okay, it's troop rallying time. I'm here to invite the panelists for our next segment. Mr. 𝗀𝗀 from Play It Forward. Mr. 𝗀𝗀, are you around, Mr. 𝗀𝗀? Okay, that's Mr. 𝗀𝗀, followed by Hendry Halim of Komoverse, followed by Herbert Sim of the Bitcoin Man. There he is, the big guy on the right, on my right. And Mr. 𝗘𝗊 of Master Ventures. So we have two panelists up here. Gentlemen, don't attempt to jump up there. You're too well dressed to do that. So just follow on over here. All right, we are lacking two more. So once again, 𝗀𝗀 of Play It Forward, Hendry Halim of, okay, and 𝗘𝗊, yes, Mr. Chase. And of course, this panel will be headed by our moderator, who is Cecilia Wong. Ms. Wong is the founder of blockchain, crypto, Web3, and an emerging tech consultancy called Your PR Strategist. Of course, Google will help you find out more information about our moderator. So to Mr. Jason Brink's point earlier, play to earn is supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and you get to earn and play at the same time. I'm a gamer, by the way, so I'm just sad that this piece of technology wasn't introduced earlier when I was still very involved in gaming. So the question here is, how sustainable is play to earn? So Ms. Wong will be our moderator, and these are our panelists. Let's find out. Thank you, Ms. Wong.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today for the very first panel discussion of the Play to Earn Expo Asia. You're in for a treat as we're going to listen to our panel of industry experts give us more insights into where the Web3 Play to Earn space is headed towards. The topic for today is whether Play to Earn is actually sustainable. So we're gonna start looking at the play to earn model before we weigh its pros and cons. I'm sure all of you know what play to earn is. Basically, online games that allow the players to earn rewards. But traditional games do that as well. So what's the difference? The difference really is that these rewards that they earn have real world value. So we're gonna start off today actually with maybe we could discuss what that model entails, and we can talk more about your opinions on its pros and cons. Maybe Kyle, do you want to start off first?
Sure. Yeah, so I think that now we see the narrative shifting away from play to earn, and people say play and earn because we realize that's strictly building an economic model where people, or essentially robots, I mean, the robots with hearts, but you know, like humans that just act as like, you know what I mean? They just sit on a game all day long, play, and can earn money, but if there's no demand on the other side, if there's no revenue coming in and generating revenue, then you can't just make money out of thin air. Well, we do it in crypto all the time, but it's not sustainable, the models that we have built so far. So this is the tricky part. So now everyone's saying that this is kind of play and earn model, and I do think that you can create an economic model that will allow people to earn a revenue by playing games. I just don't think it'll be as easy and as I don't think it'll be as easy and revolutionary as we had expected, right? Because first it was kind of I think YGG, 𝗬𝘃 𝗍𝘀 kind of like really evangelized the whole idea that we're going to change the world, and there's going to be 3 billion people on this planet who now can have jobs simply by clicking buttons on a screen. And while that was a really awesome kind of goal for us, it just proved that that model didn't work. So that's kind of the background about it. I'm also wondering, where do we go from here? And so I'd like to kind of hear if you guys have, anyone else on this panel has kind of dug into it or identified any models that might work.
Maybe I'll jump in. So from PlayedForward perspective, we have a unique insight because we manage and run a large-scale guild. And I would say that the idea of play to earn, play and earn, is not new. Like, crypto didn't invent the idea. If you look at Diablo 2, World of Warcraft, these old Web 2 games, there were people that were able to farm gold or farm up very high-powered characters and sell it to the highest bidder, normally coming from Western economies. So I guess that's really where a lot of the evolution of Web3 gaming can borrow from Web 2, in the sense that the main, as 𝗀𝗀 mentioned, the main drawback or like flaw in Web3 gaming is that it's really creating money out of thin air. There's no demand, there's no buyer. Whereas if you have in a World of Warcraft setting, there is that buyer that wants to buy that high-priced character. In Axie Infinity, unfortunately, there is no kind of like next marginal buyer that's willing to spend on the game. And I think that's really where we are seeing a lot of innovation in the space, that the newer games that are coming up are actually taking this model and running with it. Basically, you need to create that layer of whales that want to participate, and that will essentially fund the rest of the community, which I guess really from our perspective has been coming from underserved economies in Philippines and Indonesia. And that's really where they will get that benefit, because you can't just like keep printing money and giving to them. Someone needs to be giving you that money at the end of the day.
Right.
Wait, I think we just jump right ahead without self-introduction yet.
Yeah.
So hi everyone, Sawadee Krap. My name is Herbert Sim. I'm the Bitcoin Man. It's a UK venture fund that we actually invest into startups all the way to Series C, and we accelerate you guys. Yeah. So about this whole entire play to earn, we've seen the whole entire growth exponentially, especially since 2020, right? It's a $500 billion market as per Bloomberg report, right? And it's still, like, the sites are still up to $1 trillion. So everyone here today, we are all excited about play to earn, right? And I still strongly believe it's a green sunset industry as more and more players across the world enter. We have guilds, right? And even bigger communities across the world that are all striving towards building this metaverse future, right? We have champions like Meta itself, Facebook, right? They are pouring billions into this just to build a Ready Player One kind of universe. I believe everyone watched Ready Player One, right? Whereby, people wear their VR goggles, enter into the universe and play this game, whereby everybody is actually making real life money, right? They don't even have real life jobs anymore. Everybody is playing to earn in this metaverse universe, right? And Facebook is right now championing this, trying to make this a reality, right? Obviously, there are many traditional people who are against this idea, but it's adapt or die, right? Same thing like how Bitcoin came about, in 2008-9, right? And now the thing is, look at where Bitcoin is today. So same thing for the play to earn metaverse universe. This will happen again as well, right? We are seeing many mutations even within the industry, but that's where resilient players step in and adapt accordingly, right? I believe there are many experts here as well, right? You guys are experts in your own right with regards to play to earn as well. That's why you're here today, right? Now the thing is, it's about how you adapt, right, to what is coming into the industry. Here at Bitcoin Man, basically I've seen the bulls as well as the bears, right? The whole entire market. So now the thing is, you see a lot of projects coming in during the bull, but many die during the bear, right? The crypto winters. So now the thing is, how can your company survive in this crypto winter or the winters to come, right, in the play-to-earn universe. Yeah.
But is play to earn sustainable?
Well, I think that right now that's what we're discussing.
So introduction, right? So we get into it. The juicy part will be at the end, right? Let's let the panel.
Yeah, it worked really well for Axie Infinity. I mean, it's just whether or not that model can be replicated and how it can be replicated with like changes, modifications, and all that. We haven't heard from you yet. Yeah.
So hello everyone, I'm Henry from Komoverse. So basically, to answer the question, whether is play to earn sustainable or not, I think the answer is it depends. So if you see Axie at its peak, like if you get 100% ROI within 1 to 3 months, I think in any financial model and economics, I think it won't be sustainable for a 100% ROI within 1 to 3 months. But if you put it in a longer perspective, and if the game itself is making revenue streams, I think part of the revenue percentage, like consider it as a variable marketing cost, then for play to earn, then I think it will be sustainable. But again, from an Axie point of view, I think the entertainment value of the game, I think it's not that high from a gamer's perspective. So what us companies in the world we have to focus on is to increase the entertainment value of the game instead of trying to compete in the play to earn side. Play to earn has to be like the supplementary income for like underemployed workers, unemployed workers, those who want to make a living. But if you guys want to do like 100% ROI within 1 to 3 months, I don't think it's sustainable in the long run. Yeah.
So most of you feel that it is not sustainable without modifications, without some kind of changes.
I think let me play the devil's advocate
Okay.
since they are saying that it's not sustainable. So, okay, the thing now is, okay, we've all been in crypto for some time now, maybe some newer than others. Okay, now the thing is, if you notice economics, right, it's all about supply and demand, right? It's very simple. While it's simple, it's also very tough. This balance, you can look at US economy today, right? They're printing so much money, so much supply that inflation is rampant in their country, right? So same thing in the gaming universe. It's all about supply and demand. If you're able to bring in a huge community, right, the huge supply, like the huge demand for the supply you're providing, and that is where it becomes sustainable or not. It's plain straight up economics, right? If you're able to have a small supply and a huge demand, your game is going to fly, right? And if you have a huge supply and very small community demand, too bad for your project. It's probably going to die, right? The games that are very, very popular today, like Axie Infinity, that is working, it's because they have a huge community, right? There's Gala Games here today as well. It's all about the community, and that's why we have guys like him, the 𝗘𝗿𝗆, guys that are building your community out there, right? And they're expanding across the world. We see even places like Bangladesh, right? Vietnam, Indonesia, pockets of players all across the world in regions that you probably never heard of, right? This is mass adoption, same thing as how crypto is.
Wait, are we still in introductions? Are we still in introductions? Introductions. Oh, okay, I'll go now. Okay, my name's 𝗂𝗍. So I've been in crypto for about 10 years. I always like to, see what's going on, and my whole, what I've really been interested in is adoption. So whatever, if you think that video games are going to be that thing that's a killer app that gets a bunch of people, to use crypto on a mass level, then that's great. But we're quite focused on a bunch of different things, from gaming, metaverse, also things like self-regulation, because I believe it's going to be very, very difficult for national legislators to legislate a global industry. Sure, you could regulate things like institutions and businesses and what they can and cannot do that operate within your jurisdiction, but good luck regulating or going after individuals or small businesses that operate kind of in a decentralized fashion. So I think that's really important. We have been quite involved in economic models. This is something that fascinates me a lot. And just kind of touch on what Bitcoin man over here was saying, that's true. It is simple economics, but they're not really simple. Yes, you can apply that high level supply and demand, but to actually implement these things is anything but simple. And I think that I'm trying to lean more toward single token models versus dual token models, because I think that you do need that demand side, right? And what we've seen so far with 𝗬𝗂 is kind of like one token that has demand, and the other one has zero demand. And so if the one that people are earning has zero demand, then that's why the price is going to completely get obliterated. So I'm much more interested in looking at projects that have one token and trying to figure out what is the buy side look like on that one token, because we know that people will be earning these in game, but you need someone to want those tokens and need them and have a finite supply of these things in order to make them valuable. Otherwise, they won't be valuable. So we'll get into that a bit more. And later, I've got a panel I'm moderating with guilds, and I'm really interested to hear, what the strategy is behind guilds, because their whole model that was, they modeled over this scholarship and the scholar and manager kind of perspective, which really revolved around, giving scholarships out to scholars. And so I'm interested in how that will work now that we know that it's going to be more complicated than we thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just jump in and do my introduction. So my name is 𝗀𝘀. I'm CEO and co-founder of Play It Forward, one of the sponsors here. So we essentially do a number of things, but as Kyle mentioned, I'm on a panel with him later this afternoon. One of the things we operate is a large-scale guild. And while we started with Play to Earn, we kind of tried looking at other things, Move to Earn, all these other X to Earn things. But I think just taking the conversation forward, thinking about really what will drive the guild model moving forward. I like to joke about this revolutionary concept called work to earn, which has been in existence since Web 1. But what essentially that means, well, it's a joke, what it does imply is that X to earn only works if there's real economic value and real tangible output on the other side. So play to earn, where it's essentially attracting the next dollar from someone that's looking after the pump value, is great in bootstrapping communities like what happened with 𝗬𝗂, but it's not great in retaining communities, because if people are in your game for the money and the money is not there, then the players won't be there either. And that's really where we look for games that understand that, and then essentially, as Bitcoin Man mentioned, bootstrap communities not by offering them quick return, but bootstrapping communities by offering them a fun time. And that's really the core concept of any startup, right? Build stuff that people want to use, build stuff people want to kind of like poke around in, and then the community will follow. And I think that's really what will make Play to Earn sustainable, when you have real world dollars coming in and not just emissions that are pumped because of hype.
Absolutely. I think that we all agree on that. We really need to ensure that the games that are being offered actually have some other incentive besides just, just earning, because especially for the traditional gaming communities, I think this is actually a very, very important point. Most traditional gamers, they're not even really interested in the P2E model. So if we actually want to include them, into part of blockchain gaming, I think it would be extremely important for the P2E games to offer, a fun playing, play and earn kind of model. So the models have to be, as you guys said, extremely attractive. And maybe we can hear from Hendry, because you have a play to earn game that, yeah.
So I totally agree with Kyle. Like, I think most games has to be a single token instead of dual tokens, because there's in 𝗬𝗂 there's AXS and SLP, right? So everyone is basically cashing out the SLP and then converting to the governance token AXS. I think it has to be single token, because the burning mechanism and also the governance and the dividends and those kind of stuff has to be the same. So all those players who's actually getting the tokens can actually be part of the investing team also. Instead of just cashing out all the SLP, they can also be part of the investors. So I totally agree if a GameFi has to be in a single currency ecosystem, which Komoverse, our company, is. We only have one single token.
Okay, thank you. Herbert, you want to
Yeah,
add
I
on to
think
that?
this, Carl and Henry brought up very, very good point. It's about the single token, right? It's all about, again, supply and demand. You launch a secondary token, what's going to happen to the first one, right? You're going to pull the demand out, right? So now the thing is, that is one very, very important point. Now, okay, back to the part of play to earn, right? Even a simple, if you do the math, if you can allow each player to earn approximately $200 to $500 a month, that might sound nothing to you guys here in this room, okay? But this model can work in the likes of, example, Bangladesh, right? Or even the likes of, Indonesia, even Thailand, right? Like I was just in Manila, right? Like Boracay, from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, people there were so excited about projects that allow people to make anywhere from $200 to $500, right? This might not excite people in Silicon Valley, right, where they are making much, much more. So, but the thing is, that is why gaming play to earn is huge in Southeast Asia, right? If you look at 𝗬𝘂 Infinity, their biggest community is actually in Philippines, right? And then second, Vietnam. So now the thing is, for play to earn to be really sustainable, you need to target the masses, and the masses that are not your first tier world countries that are making that kind of money already, right? We are looking at mass adoptions and through second, third tier, you know, like growing cities, right? So that is one, I think, very important factors for play to earn games, to focus on specific communities in specific geolocations.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. I mean, the play-to-earn model has been, you know, like just taking off like wildfire in Southeast Asia, especially, you know, because like these kinds of regions, for them, this actually is very attractive, you know, something that they can earn while they're doing something that is enjoyable, you know, in a sense. What do you think about that, Kyle?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. It seems like most people here are pretty aware of what play to earn is. And if you're not, I'm sure we've covered it by now. So, I want to kind of give some. So I'm not really sure who's in the room or who's watching online. But basically, let's give some things that we do know, right? So if I don't know if you're an investor, you know, looking to enter, or if you're maybe a scholar or scholarship manager or a guild or a game. But regardless of any of the above, you should be using tools that are available to look at the economic models, right? So we have companies like Machinations, for example, who will allow you to run simulations on economic models. And like, as an investor myself, if you are a play-to-earn game or a crypto gaming project, I'm going to ask you if you've modeled out you've simulated your token model. And if you have, and especially if you've used something like Machinations, I'm going to be a lot more interested in going deeper at a due diligence perspective, because I know that you've thought a lot about the model and if it is sustainable or not. Because if 𝗬𝘂, for example, had been using something like Machinations, they would have been able to tell 6 months or more ahead of time that the model wasn't sustainable. And when you do identify a critical, fatal flaw with an economic model, you can't fix it overnight. Like, this takes a lot of time. Not only do you have to try to figure out how to fix it, but once you do fix it, you have to try to implement it in game. And if your game is already live, that's not easy to do either. And so, yeah, modeling these things out is going to be critical moving forward. I think that's a good space for any entrepreneurs out here who who want to look for a new job, right? So like in the gold rush, right, back good old California gold rush in America, it wasn't most of the gold miners that got rich. It was the people selling picks and shovels. And I think that right now I only know really one company, Machinations, who's building these simulation software. But I think that there's room for others to come on board. And I know they're very expensive to use their service, and it's quite complex. So I think if someone could create another like a comparable model, a simulator for economic models, especially in Web3, because Machinations was created specifically for Web2 initially, or video games that didn't have real world economies, more in-game economies, which is quite similar but also different, because you don't have transparency, you don't have finite supply, you have a central bank essentially in centralized games. But if you could create that model, and that's something I'm looking for very much. If anyone else knows these things, please do let me know. But I think that's the key, right? That's the key to this entire conference. Is we can all guess, we can all sit here and theorize, what would a good economic model look like? But until we run it out, until we do some numbers and simulations and estimate how many players come on board, what's the APY, what are people mining, what are people selling in, what's the demand, how much do we sell these NFT for, like all this stuff. We can guess, and it might look good on paper, it might sound good in theory, but until we simulate it, you can either simulate it on software or in real world. In real world, it's much more dangerous.
Very interesting point, the simulations. Actually, yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. I think that would really, really help lots of games right now in the space to actually really improve on their tokenomics, even like what's being offered in the games themselves, in the in-game assets, to have all those numbers. Definitely very, very important. Let's move on to, okay, someone was mentioning move to earn and all the other kinds of trends that are coming out of the play to earn, movement at the moment. What do people think, what do you guys think of all these kinds of trends? That I've heard of move to earn, eat to earn. That's like, basically we're actually just earning from everything. It's like a very, very, for me, like the whole concept when it first came to my attention, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like so revolutionary, but at the same time, it's so crazy. Are we gonna breathe to earn?
The best one was sex to earn. That was like, I got excited about that.
Sleep to earn was one.
Yeah, but the point is that like all of these things, you can't just do something to earn. Like there needs to be value that's brought into the ecosystem. So if you could create like for sure, like okay, this is kind of. It's not a PG audience here, right? Okay, let's just take this example. So let's just take well, actually we're in the, okay. Let's see, what's a better example? Eat to earn. Okay, Domino's Pizza, right? So if you could create like an eat to earn thing that was sponsored by advertisers, right? And the advertisers paid, and then they needed this native currency in order to pay for sponsorships. Okay, now you have an interesting model, right? Because there's demand. But again, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're playing to earn, walking to earn, sleeping to earn. It's essentially a big, huge Ponzi scheme unless you have
a very compelling model, right?
Yeah.
A compelling, attractive offer that's designed. No, I absolutely agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, basically the whole X to earn movement, same as play to earn, is capitalizing on two fundamental kind of like drivers or needs of human beings. One is that we have a lot of idle time, and then we basically want to earn money from that idle time. Play to earn was the first manifestation of that. Move to earn is exactly the same thing, because I'm idle, I want to walk around. If I make money off doing that, then that's fine, I'll play it. But to Kyle's point, doesn't change the dynamic that you need someone to pay for it. It can't be the next marginal player that pays for the ecosystem. So it essentially then becomes just a Ponzi. And unless you can bring in real spending dollars, whether it's advertising, whether it's sponsorships, that's when you build a sustainable business model, because you can't just run it on emissions practically.
And this is on that point though, this is one of the biggest things that my biggest critiques is like STEPN, right? So STEPN comes in and they have revenue, right? But the problem is people just do not understand token economics. They understand traditional business models with for-profit entities where they think for some reason they need to appease the shareholders, and that they also believe that like they should get rich while people invested in the token, and neglect the fact that the revenue and all value within the ecosystem should be pushed back into a token. So with STEPN, for example, I think something like 85% of the revenue went back to shareholders, their pockets, right? When I think 15% were going back into the token ecosystem. That's a ass-backward model. Like that should not be the case. In fact, maybe between 1% and 5% of revenue should go back to the team strictly for overhead, right? For overhead, but nothing for profit. 100% of value should be driven back into and if they shift that, then maybe we're looking a bit more sustainable. But until people also wrap their mind around the difference between equity and tokens and understand that also it's extremely difficult to do both in one project, and probably people just shouldn't do both, You're looking at major outliers like Binance, maybe FTX, who could put, when you're that size. But still, even then, if CZ pushed all the value into the BNB token and no problem, oh my God, it would be bigger than Bitcoin by now, right? Like, so that's the difference. If you're big enough, you can create value in both equity and tokens, but you shouldn't, in my opinion. You can. People won't complain if you're Binance or FTX, but again, for newer projects starting out and things like that, like it should be you choose one or the other, but not both.
Okay, so coming back to the topic, the evolvation or mutation, move to earn, sex to earn, and more, right? It all come about because the simple fact is where there's money, right? People will flood in. Same way as how, the ICO bull run, and suddenly there are thousands of ICOs that came about, right? Okay, so now the thing is, this entire to earn model is all based on the idea of eventual universal basic income. Okay, so where this idea really stemmed from, like what I mentioned earlier about Ready Player One, there will come a day whereby everybody is work from home, right? This idea never crossed our mind pre-COVID. Now today, working remotely is possible, right? Working from home. Now there might be a next wave whereby everybody is literally forced to stay at home, and the only thing you can really engage in is this metaverse. And now, if that is the case, you need to find a way to earn money, right? Is this UBI, Universal Basic Income, going to play out? Which government in the world is able to do such a thing? Not yet, right? There's Andrew Yang in America pushing it. China is pushing their communism, whereby the money from top, they transfer back to the middle class, lower class, right? Now, the thing is, back to the topic, what Facebook is trying to do is, allowing people to make money from home, right? They're allowing creators to make money from home. And that's the whole entire idea of the UBI. Now, the thing is, play to earn and move to earn or whatever, it's all subcategories building towards this big dream of a eventual UBI. Okay, and now the thing is, we can talk about tokenomics and everything. Now, the thing is, if you're able to be that one big player to bring the whole entire world onto the platform, you will be the biggest play to earn or whatever in the world, right? So the likes of Sandbox, right, they're building a universe, selling land, and you have big real estate moguls coming in and buying plots of lands. Okay, now the thing is, they are all buying this dream. Okay, there are some Chinese here, 买个梦, right? They're buying a dream of possibly getting rich someday. So same way, if your play to earn game is able to make this model reality, investors will pour in the money. Like myself and many other VCs I know of, all will start pouring the money in, because that is where the money will eventually be. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, thanks for mentioning the metaverse. I think that would be actually a very, very important focus in P2E, play and earn, all the different forms of gaming, because that's what's actually really going to tie in the commercial aspects and possibilities. 𝗀𝘆, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about how metaverse as our next frontier of gaming and how that, ties in with commercial possibilities.
Maybe we should let Hendry
Oh,
okay. No,
okay. Hendry, why don't you?
That is good.
Like,
Yeah, so how I see in the metaverse prospect is that what we're missing now in the metaverse is that digital marketing basically is still lacking in the metaverse world. So how Komoverse we serve that we are building our own metaverse, we focus on B2B marketing in the metaverse. So for example, like if a tobacco company or a bank want to do marketing, these days I think having them buying land plots and then having them inside the digital metaverse, that's going to be the new next way of doing marketing. Yeah.
Well, 𝗀𝘆, you want to follow up?
Sure. Maybe metaverse, I agree with what Herbert mentioned, which is essentially, we would say, a mega trend towards what the civilization is kind of trending towards. What we do, and we're kind of very beneficial in our position as a guild, is that we're actually at the tip of the spear in terms of onboarding people into Web3, into the metaverse. And there's a lot of pain points actually for gamers in particular, but even more so just generally the general population in communities in the emerging world where onboarding is an issue. They're underbanked, they don't have access, they don't have education. And as guilds, you kind of take that role in helping them understand that, but at the same time also making them aware of what's available in the metaverse. And what we've seen is that what Play to Earn has really, and what Axie Infinity has shown is that if you provide people a means to do something that they enjoy, playing, moving, sleep, eating, but also give them economic value from that, they would gravitate to that. And what essentially we do from a guild standpoint is we are able to move these communities towards where it makes the most sense for them to do so. And I think that's really where a lot of the trust comes from these players into really following where we say like, hey, this is something that you should look into, they would follow. And at the same time, we kind of help them along by enabling other and essentially enabling them to make the most of what they earn. So looking at stuff in DeFi, looking at Web3 more broadly, and how to really get financial freedom by doing this play to earn or X to earn thing that they're doing.
Absolutely. Kyle, you want to add on to that? Any insights you have about metaverse, the role of metaverse, and you know, like in this whole scene?
I think that whole topic is quite interesting. We see Zuck, right, rename Facebook to Meta, and then we see like basically it started going downhill ever since he did that, right? Now like stocks, he just made a huge mistake putting too much effort on that because maybe we're not ready for that. Maybe like, and also let's not forget that we have had some degree of a metaverse already with things like Fortnite and Second Life and Roblox. Like these are metaverse. The only difference is they don't have a Web3 economy. They've got in-game economy. So I think that we got a little prematurely excited. I think that we can't really experience that Ready Player One kind of vision, and it's not even tangible in my mind. Every time I've put on one of these headsets, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm not going to spend more than 30 minutes in this thing. It's just uncomfortable, and for us to really have that kind of experience that was painted for us in this movie is we have to have things like Neuralink and or some type of integration, on a much deeper level than just visual. Right? You need to be able to believe that you're immersed in this thing for it to actually be, in my opinion, something that people will buy into, and eventually we will be there, right? Like, I believe very much that we're in a radically different type of opportunity, even for people to experience life when they couldn't before, right? Because we will be at a point where, I mean, when many people could argue that we're in a simulation right now, right? We're in a metaverse right now. We just don't know it, right? Elon Musk is like 99% sure, and he's probably more than that. He just doesn't want to sound like he's completely crazy. But the fact is that we will be at a place probably the next 10, 15 years where we can experience things that are created virtually in a 99+% reality, meaning that if I've never been able to go to Tahiti before, because I couldn't afford it, didn't have the time, whatever, like you will be able to have a vacation in Tahiti that's 99+% realistic within the next 10 or 15 years, and your brain will buy into the fact that you're there. But I think where we are, and I can go on this topic forever, but I just don't think that we're there yet, and I think that it was a prematurely idea planted, just probably from an investor perspective, trying to get buy-in, but I think that the technologists need to build out that technology a little bit more before us, the end user, us smaller VCs, who aren't the Sequoias and A16 Andreessen Horowitzes of the world, or even the guys who are dumping all the money into it, right? Like Zuckerberg and things like that. So. I don't know that it warrants a huge discussion. I think that I for one have not really I've kind of strayed away from it lately, and I think we need to focus on what is tangible today.
I mean, I agree that the metaverse has been like a huge buzzword, and for us to see actual, real use cases of metaverse, that has been, pretty limited. But I would say that the potential is huge, though, because you're actually integrating, the virtual reality with the hyper reality, and offering so many new possibilities, especially for commercial, especially for commercial. Commercial incentives. I mean, like, for example, like, even for brands, like, there are many brands right now, in the fashion world, like, offering lots of, actual uses that, you can, and they do it, they do it virtually. I mean, so they're like, like, integrating both these worlds. I mean, like, for me, I can't wait to, like, be able to order McDonald's or something, in a virtual world, and have it, translate into the actual world. And somebody comes to my door and actually delivers, the meal to me, and it's like seamless, like, whatever I'm experiencing, maybe it's part of a social kind of, interaction I'm having online, and then I can just, like, translate it, like, immediately into the, my real reality, the real world reality.
I do think you're right. I guess I would no, I do think you're right. I did overlook that part. I have spoken to people who started conducting the equivalent of a Zoom meeting in these kind of enterprise metaverse-like environments, who do tell me it's a completely different. It takes the meeting to a different level that feels much more immersive and much more tangible, to where you're pretty close, even though you're not next to your colleagues. It feels more like you're next to them in a boardroom meeting, for example, in a metaverse-like environment. I guess for me, I don't really know yet what we're calling metaverse and what we're calling just being like, kind of like what we've been doing already. I'm not really sure.
I think we're at the beginning of the baby
So
steps.
it
right?
takes a visionary, right, to actually think of that whole entire idea and bring it to fruition, right? And that's why the likes of Mark Zuckerberg today is a billionaire. So now the thing is, this vision is something that, entrepreneurs think of, and they find money to back this idea, right? And those billionaires that already have money that's pouring in, that's where smaller players like us here in this room, we chase after that, right? And then we try to build services, products that service that dream and take some of that money out. Okay, and in this scenario, right, so now that we are in this topic, Apple, for example, is building augmented reality contact lenses, right? So now the thing is, you can wear your contact lenses, and example, the girl in front of you can be somebody else's face. You think of the potential of that, right? Yeah, you could swap your husband. If you're sick of your husband, just swap his face with a celebrity, for example, right? So it is that ridiculous today, right? So now the thing is, 𝗀 mentioned wearables. Not many people here today. How many of you have worn a VR set here? Okay, 10, 15%. Okay, now the thing is, 85% haven't even tested that, okay? But the thing now is, Facebook, one of their biggest cash cow was their Oculus goggles, right? Suddenly, okay, each Oculus around 1,500, right? Now the thing is, they sold 1 million sets. How much is that? 1.5 billion instantaneous money, right? Now the thing is, the future, it's still yet to be seen. That's just Oculus. Now, Apple come out with their augmented virtual reality contact lenses. I think that's a game changer altogether. Now, even the likes of billionaire like Elon Musk, world richest man now, is developing Neuralink, which is a chip in your brain, and you can connect to all your devices at home, right? Like I can right now switch off the camera or make the camera zoom in my face, something like that. So all with your mind, right? So now the thing is, the possibilities today are endless. And yes, we are still very, very premature at this point in terms of technology, but it first takes a dream, a vision, then we move towards executing that dream, right? So now the thing is, all the billionaires are pouring the money in, and that's, as normal users here today, that is where we need to be at, right? When technology is at the forefront, you cannot just step back and say, oh, just let it be and just be a spectator. What do? You go to school, you start studying tech, and you plant yourself there and work in that industry, and you grow together, right? And that is how the world is moving, and it's either you adapt or you die. Yeah.
Thank you, 𝗏𝘅. I think that we have actually run out of time. But if there's anyone here who wants to, add on to, because I think this is an extremely interesting topic. If you want to add on to any parting words.
I guess maybe just closing words, and maybe just taking back to, is play to earn sustainable? I think one thing that we cannot ignore from what happened over the last 12, 18 months is that essentially you have minted this whole class of global citizens that know that they can make money engaging in the metaverse and doing essentially a gig economy, right? Play to earn, move to earn, etc. As those people mature financially, and we have a lot of guild members that are students, for example, the technology adoption is always driven by the next generation coming up and building on top of what they learn. So essentially, this whole play to earn, Web3 gaming has created this new class of citizens that are crypto native. And it's very exciting to see what they will build over the next 5, 10 years. And I think that's really where we see a lot of potential, and really where we see guilds having a lot of value in bringing more and more of those kinds of innovators into the space, especially ones that don't have access to financial resources that we do in this room.
Thank you, Cholo. Kyle?
Okay,
Hendry. Just
all good, all good.
No? You're all good, Kyle? Any parting words? Okay, so...
Wait, in closing, I just want to make an announcement, because the Bitcoin Man VC Fund it's going to be on New York Times in 2 weeks' time. So we just invested in a play to earn, world first artificial intelligence utility token. It's called AI-tech.io. Check it out. So it's probably gonna, in my opinion, it's probably gonna blow up. So yeah, check it out.
Go buy the token is what you're telling people?
All right.
Financial advice.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for a very insightful discussion. Thank you, all of you. And thank you also for joining us.
Thank you, panelists, for such great insights. Where else can you find such valuable inputs from industry experts? Nowhere else. For those of you at home, aren't you glad you signed up? I have received a ton of value so far, and we can expect that in the rest of the day, as well as the days to come, to receive the same amount of value. All right, so at this moment, we are going to break for lunch. So over here in Bangkok, it's lunchtime. So everybody, physical attendees, please do come back at 1:20 Bangkok time, not back home. Otherwise, you'll miss the whole thing. All right, I'll see you guys shortly.